start with the coverage of Island Pond, Vermont, Northeast Kingdom, Vermont, all that vicinity, okay? The most recent situation, Katelyn Deslandes. Katelyn Deslandes goes to court on charges where she was involved in an accident that killed two teenagers at age 18, okay? Well, the teenagers were drinking apparently at some point because there's cans, or one of the teenagers or somebody was drinking, right? Because there's alcohol in the vehicle. All right, so in the newspaper states that the kid was civilly suspended on his license that was driving. Well, okay, so there we go. I mean, I'm only telling you what the newspaper is telling us, because you see, we all know that the news only tells you what they want to. I tell you everything I know, right? There's a difference between me and them. And so they tell you in the news that Katelyn Deslandes was driving and crossed the lane. The driver of a vehicle that police say crossed into an oncoming lane and struck a car, killing two teenagers last week, told investigators after the crash, "I think I passed out," and that she had a rough couple of days, according to newly filed court records. Okay, well, that's what they wrote. That doesn't mean that's what she said, okay? Because there's always what they said, what she says, and the truth in between. So they said, and I know from my own experience, I have records and reports from 2006 till this current date in 2022 of false reports and fictitious statements accepted, written, and made by law officials and the same Vermont State Police. Okay? So when I tell you that, you can only take with a grain of salt not only what is in these statements, but what really happened. Because only God knows that. And so only God is to judge. Katelyn Deslandes, 23, of Island Pond, pleaded not guilty Tuesday to 2 charges of negligent operation of a motor vehicle, with death resulting during a virtual arraignment from Orleans County Superior Criminal Court in Newport. Each charge carries up to 15 years behind bars if convicted. Well, first of all, she has the right to arraignment and to plead not guilty. So I understand everybody's upset because there's 2 deaths involved. However, there is a second side of a story in the truth that lies between. So who are we to be judging? The only thing that we should be doing is looking at this situation and finding out how we can do it to make a change that it doesn't happen again. Deslandes took part in the hearing by phone from Dartmouth Hitchcock Medical Center in Lebanon, New Hampshire, where she is recovering from injuries from the crash. I'm sure she is, and I hope she does recover well and in the speedy recovery, because nobody deserves to be in a situation like this. I don't care who it is. Police say Deslandes was driving a 23 Chevy Malibu. Well, we don't care about all that. Wednesday, when she crossed the center of the road, driving into the eastbound lane. Okay, where were the witnesses to this? She fatally struck Logan Coda of Newport, who was driving, and his passenger, Taylor Warren of Lunenburg. Okay. So Joshua McCullough of the Vermont State Police, which we need to look into him and see if he's had any kind of internal affair reports against him, submitted an affidavit in support of the charges against Deslandes that became public Tuesday. And again, we need to check into his disciplinary report, see if there's ever been any complaints, find out what his background is before the attorney for Deslandes proceeds with her case. Okay, he needs to do a background check into all the attorneys involved, all the witnesses, all the judges, and all the jury, as well as all the backgrounds of the victims and survivor. Okay, McCullough wrote that when he asked Deslandes if she had been traveling west at the time of the crash, she replied, "Yeah," adding, "I think I passed out," and that she had a rough couple of days. Well, again, that's neither here nor there. That's him saying. That's his word against her. Okay? His word against hers. First of all, scientific proven fact, all males lie. Second of all, males are scientifically proven to be the most of the liars in life, okay? Most of all, he works for Vermont State Police, and I have copies and I have proof that they lie. And I have proof that the Attorney General, TJ Donovan, covers up their lies, okay? And you can say that I'm full of shit, but I've got a lot of people that I've been helping that have a whole stack of paperwork against them all, okay? So, with that being said, she denied consuming any alcohol or drugs, according to the affidavit, though Mikola wrote in the filing that he observed signs in Deslandes' eyes and speech that suggested she was impaired. Are you fucking kidding me? She had just gotten into an accident. So who is he to be judging, okay? I can tell you right now, I've got charges and paperwork that the Vermont State Police wrote bad reports about me, and I hadn't done anything about any of it. I hadn't done any of it. I didn't know that they were consuming charges against me, but I've already been in front of a judge, and that judge told me that he already knows that Vermont State Police and the others, they write what they want to, and they don't take reports if they don't want to. So there you go. Later, according to the sergeant, Deslandes reported using heroin the day before the crash and marijuana earlier on the day of the crash. Well, marijuana is treated naturally. It's a natural grown plant, and a lot of people use it, whether you admit it or not. You only don't want to admit it because you're afraid of getting in fucking trouble. Wow, wow, wow. Heroin, on the other hand, that's a well-known epidemic in the small town of Island Pond, which is population of what, 800, mostly toddler and elderly or paraplegic, okay? And so with that being said, knowing that there's a little school there, K through 8th, why is there such a heroin epidemic? The town is only a 1.5 mile radius, I believe. So wouldn't that be a major fucking situation, knowing that the heroin epidemic, Katelyn's dad, bombshell evidence, has been busted a few times for selling, manufacturing, and distributing. Isn't that true? Wasn't there a raid way back when she was a baby? Wasn't there another raid? And wasn't he stopped with a car of 3? But you see, those charges got released because it was entrapment when he got caught traveling to Massachusetts with a couple other people. So with that being said, that happened just a few years ago, okay? Look it all up because the information's there. So noting that, we all have proof that Vermont State Police lie, and you have 5 agencies overlooking Island Pond, Vermont. From Derby to Island Pond, you have Border Patrol, which is in charge of sex trafficking and human trafficking, and they are one of the hubs of. You've got Border Patrol again, that's in charge of the drugs and stuff like that. So why is there so many? Okay, so you get the Border Patrol, you get the FBI, you get you got Essex County Sheriff's Department, you got Jeff Noyes himself, and you get Vermont State Police. There's 5 continuously, and they have little, they have informants and everything. But these informants are the ones that are distributing. They are manufacturing and distributing. I know for sure that there was manufacturing and distributing going on in Railroad Street, apartment 109, called the Beehive. I reported it. I have facts and proof. And who lived right next door and who was right next door all the time? Katelyn Deslandes. Because why? That's where that family lives. They live the whole road of 109 Railroad Street spread out. It's well known. I've bought marijuana from her myself. Kelly, who is part of the Deslandes family, okay? Kelly Sandville, her and her husband, I have gotten marijuana from them. I have gotten marijuana from next door at the Brown House from 109 Railroad Street. Okay, his name is Paul. And Jeff Noyes and the police, they sit right across from the Deslandes home. Are they part of distributing the fentanyl and the heroin and everything? I know Northeast Kingdom Human Services comes through there quite often with medications, and they hand them out to people. They come to the apartment buildings and they give people the wrong medications purposely and try to get them addicted, and they overdose them. It happened to my daughter. I have proof and fact. We've been telling the story. So I hold Vermont State Police and all of the law enforcement involved for the car accident that claimed the life of 2 innocent humans, whether they were alcohol induced or not. Somebody had to supply that alcohol. Somebody had to supply that heroin. So why aren't we looking into the core of the situation? Is it because you really got something to hide? Isn't that why my home got shot up? Isn't that why my vehicle got shot at? Isn't that why my home got burned down twice? My home in North Anson, my home in Guilford? Isn't that why my home got stolen from me off the property in Barnet, Vermont? Isn't that why I got locked out of my house in Island Pond, Vermont? Isn't that why Mark Newell never got investigated after he was being investigated for burning his home in Holland, Vermont? Isn't that why there was my daughter's ex-boyfriend's family members that were just shot in Holland within the last week, mother and son, because of a drug deal? Okay, so why is it, again, we have 5 agencies covering Northeast Kingdom right there from Newport, Derby, Vermont down to Island Pond, and these kids are dead and in the hospital and doped up and alcohol induced? Why? Why, people? Stop blaming the children and start blaming the ones that are at fault. That would be your Attorney General T.J. Donovan, who oversees Northeast Kingdom Mental Health Services, Department of Children and Family Services, Economical Services, Sarah Squirrel from Mental Health Services, okay? They put these kids on medications. Y'all think it's okay for your kids to be labeled and put on medications? This is what it happens to them. Depression medications, psychotropical medications. Oh, they have a bad day, so they're bipolar and they got to be put on medications. Oh, so they didn't comply with the order of the doctor, so they get locked in a psych ward and over-medicated, and then the Attorney General orders for the involuntary stay if he doesn't get his own way. And so then they get beaten, raped in Rutland Regional Medical Center after they've been drugged. I had it all on audio record, and you know what? I am petitioning for those records. I am going to Washington, D.C., and I'm going to have all the truckers backing me. Why? Because a lot of them have already got the information and the petition to sign, as well as me. I have printed it this morning, and I am requesting that the Vermont State Police and Attorney General T.J. Donovan be investigated. And that's all I got to say about that one. But Katelyn Deslandes, I really do hope that she is able to recover, mend, and be on her way. This is very disgusting. I feel bad. Prayers out to the families, all of them. The mothers are the ones that suffer from all of this, while the fathers should have been standing up and fighting for our freedom instead of watching fucking video games. Have a great day.